So, talking about pressure, related to pressure, you said before about, I mean, you've obviously got pretty strong, firm religious beliefs, and does that, and I've sort of read before that you almost say that it's kind of almost destiny, is that right? Or that do you feel that you're totally responsible? Does that take some of the pressure off, basically, your beliefs?
Yeah, I mean, my faith, it's important to get that it's my faith, not another religion. It's actually my belief and what I believe to be the truth. But, when God says he works everything out for my good, and I believe it. Yeah. And when I see that I'm doing this job, he's put me in this position, and whether success or, it's always going to be a success for me, whether it's first place or last place. Whether it's success in the world's eyes or not is it's not really up to me. It's I put in all the work I can. Obviously, I want to win. I want to be able to do that for myself and my sponsors. But when you get to a point where you have all the tools to win, like last season, and they don't come, for me, I know that I can win just as easily as I could have won last year as easily as me not winning. It could have he could have changed it or switched it around or whatever. Really easy. So it's not, I see everything for a reason, for sure. It happens on purpose. I just control the effort I put in, and that's always going to be 100%. And however it works out, I know that that's for my good, which it was this year. I mean, the results.
You learned a lot.
Yeah, I mean, the results suck, but when I look back at the year, I mean, to my standards, I guess, but for me, I wouldn't have changed it for myself because it taught me so much, and there's a lot of things I don't think I would have learned, especially not as quick as I did, without a season like that. So I look at it and I'm really thankful for it. Moving forward now, it really is, it's just, it's built my faith to a whole kind of new level. So that's, when you literally can't lose in life speaking, I guess. When you get a win, that he brings about the win, and I can be stoked because it's really not easy to do. And so when things line up and he blesses me that way, it's awesome. And when he doesn't, and it's like, whoa, it's like we gave it everything we have. I know he's still stoked, so it's like you can be comfortable with that. So it does. I mean, it takes all the pressure off because there is no fear of failure. What is a failure? If you give it 100% and you really, I mean, I'm not just talking about showing up and doing everything you can in your race run to go fast. I mean, during the off season, during the week, leading up, showing up and doing the best you actually can do, you can never outgive that. So I know that if I'm doing that, I'm loving my sponsors, I'm loving him the right way, and the rest of it just falls into place however it can. You really can't fail. You have this perceived failure, I think, as an athlete. When you reach a bar, if you don't hit it, you see it as a failure, but it's like, well, did you do everything you could? Is there anything else you could have done? And it's like, well, no. And sometimes maybe you learn, oh, maybe I can do this, but as far as the effort you put in, if there isn't, then it's like, well, I just wasn't the guy today. What can you do? So I mean, and that's how it should be with everybody as far as just looking at results. There is no, maybe you don't get to the result that you hope for, but this fear of failure, what people are going to think if I don't maintain this level is stupid. It's not it's not real. So it's man, I mean, for me it takes all the pressure off because I know he can bring the blessing in the form of wins or not, but either way he's going to bless me in the long run, and it's all going to work out for my good. So it's like
I would see that as a pretty strong advantage in many races, because I almost think that a huge amount of downhill racing is about the mental game and how people deal with pressure on the start line, and I don't know, people getting totally worked up about it. And do you not really get worked up then when you start in a race?
I don't really. I get definitely more mellow as the years have gone on. Last year I was more mellow on the start gate than I ever have been, and the runs really were going better in sections than I've ever ridden, as far as just being relaxed and focused and letting go of the outcome. I mean, when you start to have few races where you feel like everything, you have all the tools to win a race and there's no reason it shouldn't, but then it doesn't, you start to realize pretty quickly that you can't control the result, which you always know before. You can never control the result of a race. You can come close when your preparation, and you can say, okay, if things go my way, I should win. But as far as a for sure thing, it's never a for sure thing. So, you start to learn pretty quick that that it can go either way, which is something you've always known all along, but it just kind of cements it.
Yeah.
And so that was the case this year, you know. So, yeah, I mean, you hear a lot of racers in any sport, you know, they talk about second place is failure, and it's everything to them. If they don't have racing and results, what is it? And you see it, you know, they'll start to lose a few races, and it's not fun anymore. You know, they get down on themselves. You know, it's really easy as a racer to start to base kind of your self-worth and race results, because when you're winning, everybody tells you you're awesome, and then you get second or you don't match up to the level that they think you should. And, man, the hate pours on pretty quick.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, if you're not strong in your belief, that can start to frustrate you, you know, and pull you away from your beliefs and start to get in the way. So it's...
How do you deal with all the sort of hate and that? Because obviously with social media and everything today, do you just ignore it, or what? Because I see that quite often when you're at the top, everyone tries to knock you off, and you know, everyone loves the underdog.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just different. It's funny. People are funny, you know. I think people that have raced and do stuff, they actually understand it. But for the average fan, they really don't understand what it's like to be there. And they don't understand, I guess, how difficult it is, really. I mean, they can say they do, but their actions don't line up with that. And but yeah, I mean, it's just a funny thing. I mean, you win a lot of races. I think people, they build you up to be this like superhero type character, you know, and then you start to show weakness and you get beat or something, and they have to find a reason why. And you can tell them the reason why, but they don't believe it because it has to make sense in their head or something weird.
Yeah. Blame on equipment.
Yeah, they gotta find something to blame, and not just like, oh, like those were just a couple amazing years, and that is not easy to do. And there's a lot of other guys out there that are amazing riders, and they were just better. It's like, okay, you know, they got to find a reason. So it's, yeah, that was one thing this year that I learned about myself. I'd always never cared what people think, but I started to care a little bit too much towards the middle of the year, just because I was always 100% content with my results. I was never upset because, like I said, I knew I was doing everything I could to be the best I could, and I knew I had the tools to win. It just wasn't coming together, so it was just going to, you know, take time, and, you know, hopefully things would turn around. But when every person comes up to you and is asking you what's wrong and why aren't you winning and how are you, like, how could you, sort of thing, and you hear it in their voice, it starts to get frustrating. You know, you really think that people would respect the work and stuff more than they do. So yeah, I mean, I started to get a little frustrated towards the beginning of the middle of the season. I was starting to want to win bad because I just wanted to shut everybody up. You know, I wanted to stop all the crap about the bike and all the other things and show, like, nope, everything really is fine. Like, I'm telling you it's fine. Yeah. But you won't believe unless I win a race. So it's like I just wanted to win a race so that I could people would stop talking. And that's really bad on my part because I never race for anybody but myself, and I'm always content with the effort I put in. So that just really didn't line up with my beliefs, and it exposed that. You know, I realized, like, oh, I kind of cared a little bit more than I thought I did. So in that way, and a lot of reasons, it was a good year, you know, and I mean, an amazing year for that. So I'm definitely thankful for it now, and I can move on and look at it in the right light this year, and just focus on doing that. And I mean, as many haters as people say, I had more people come up to me this year, stoked, you know, like actual fans that get it. Yeah. They're excited. They understand it's bike racing and it's difficult, and you know, they're stoked that we're out there doing it. And so that was cool. But, you know, usually the ones that are more negative are the more vocal ones. Yeah. So people just grab that, attack it, and run with it. And they got to have something to talk about if they don't have anything else going on. So I don't blame them for it. It's just part of the deal, unfortunately. Yeah.
So are you feeling good coming into 2014 then? Off the back of what you learnt last year? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, like I said, I was feeling good last year, but you always learn. Every year I learn. Even through my years of winning, I'm always learning. That's kind of always been my thing. Always trying to learn something to keep improving. Like, where can I get better? No matter how good you think you are, there's always somewhere you can get better. And I found a few of those spots this year, definitely. I've got a new coach. We're always working on new stuff. So I think, you know, for the time of the season I am right now, I've already made improvements better than I ever have been. Just like last year going into the season, I felt like I was more prepared than any other year. And I've just kept building on that. So, yeah, I feel really good for it being, February now. And we still have about a month and a half, and I think we're going to show up really good, definitely ready, and give it everything we've got and just see what happens.
Are you feeling good about the tracks that are on this year?
Yeah, they do look good. I'm excited to go to a couple new venues this year. Australia will be cool. I mean, I've only been there once, and the crowd was pretty awesome there.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that'll be a wild race, and it looks like a cool track too. And I'm always excited to just have new tracks. I think it's good to just kind of take mountain biking to different places, and just race new things. So, but then we have old tracks on the schedule that are really good. So yeah, the schedule is good. I was bummed they took Val d'Isle off, but other than that, it's pretty good. And I like the schedule change now, racing on Saturdays instead of Sunday. I always thought that day of practice between qualifying and race was a bit of a waste. So for me personally, I'm digging the schedule a lot more, and so I think it'll be good.
Cool. And what do you have any goals for this year in terms of results? I mean, you've never won a world champs so far. Is that up there as a?
Yeah, I mean, it always is. For me, still as a racer, and it's just me, everybody's different. To win a World Cup title would still be more special to me right now than a world champ, just because you usually have to win multiple races and consistently be the fastest guy over a year. But I won 2 of those, and I haven't won a world champs. And sponsor-wise, you can't call yourself a world champ unless you win world champs. So, it would be amazing to win that race. But I wouldn't say that I really set a lot of results goals for myself. I always am hopeful to win, and I know that if things do go my way, that there's no reason that I shouldn't have a really good shot at that. But as far as goals go, it's the same every year, and I might sound like a broken record. People give me grief for it, but I want to have fun and keep learning and enjoy the job I get to do. I mean, I am racing a bicycle for a living, which is pretty incredible, and I'm realizing that I've enjoyed racing already this year more than I ever have in my whole life. Letting go of all the other stuff and getting back to kind of why I love to do it, and just being excited to actually race and see how much I can get out of myself for a few minutes on a Saturday or Sunday in one run. So man, I'm excited for this year. I think it's going to be. I mean, I know it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm hopeful that the results will follow. And I think that they will, but either way, I'll be happy.
Yeah. It seems like you really enjoy downhill racing now, but I'm sure a few years ago you almost said that your faith could take you in any direction, and that you could leave downhill racing at any point. Is that still true, or?
I mean, I would say that. I mean, you still never know. I don't say that in a way like I don't care about it at all, and I could just leave it tomorrow. But at the same time, I don't care about it at all, and I could just leave it tomorrow, if that makes sense. It's, I've done it since I was a little kid. I love it. I know I'll be in it for another 2 years. I have 2 more years on my deal, and I imagine I'll sign another contract after that. I don't know for sure, but in my mind, if I saw it working out how I would like it to, that's how it would work out. I'd race for at least another 5 years or so. Yeah. But you never know. But that's what it is in my head, and I am enjoying it. I used to not really enjoy the racing part, and I would admit it. The racing was the work part for me. I've always loved riding my bicycle and training, and the racing is what allowed me to do that full time throughout the year. So it was like, all right, if I got to put in 5 minutes of work 8 times a year at World Cups and get through the racing part, and it's cool. The results were always fun when you have good results. You see the hard work pay off. But I wouldn't wake up Sunday morning like I can't wait to race today. It was always like, I was at peace and I was excited, to kind of get it over with. And, I was like, all right, time to put my head down and really work today and do the best we can, and then I can go back to relaxing. But it's like, why would there ever be a stress there unless you have this weird fear of a perceived failure in your mind? Why wouldn't you be excited to race? Like, that's what you're working for. That's why you're putting in all the hours, is to show up and test yourself and see how fast you can go, see what you can get out of yourself. This year my mind's definitely changed a lot regarding racing. I'm letting go of the need for results, which I've always thought that I had, but I'm doing a lot better now. It's actually part of my belief now. It's clicked. I'm excited to go to the races every weekend. I'm excited to see how hard I can push myself and what, all the training and all the hard work, how can I, put that to work. And then just however it happens, and not thinking about that at all. But it's cool, man. I'm excited because even since I was 4 years old, it's always kind of felt that way with racing for me. So kind of for the first time in my life, I'm really excited to show up and race.
Are you ever tempted to do enduro racing or anything, or is that not even?
No,
doesn't excite you at all?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it does. Not because it isn't cool or it's not whatever, but just that it's not what I believe is in the future for me. I think downhill is my deal. That's what I like. Those enduro guys are gnarly. That's a whole different type of training. I mean, Josh Carlson was just out here last week with me training and riding. And it's just, man, those guys, they can just suffer like cross country. It's a different kind of riding. And, you know, for my style and my preferences, I enjoy downhill more for me. So that's why when I retire, I'm sure I'll be racing Super Ds and stuff because I just want to ride a bike and have fun. But as far as trying to do the World Cup Enduro thing, I don't think never going to happen.
I've got to ask you, because everyone always, wheel size, do you...
you had to say it. I don't know. I'm used to it.
I mean, what's your view on moving up wheel sizes in downhill? Do you see there being advantage? You've obviously ridden different size wheels in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for whatever's faster is better. I'm not stuck in I want to ride it just because it's what I ride thing. It's like, hey, if it's better then, or you think it's better, then let me jump on it and see. And especially with racing, I mean, if you're casual riding, that's one thing. But if you're racing and trying to be the best and everybody else is doing that, it's like you have to do that. So, I mean, I've seen the advantages, obviously. Anybody that's really kind of ridden at a higher level, even on a cross-country bike like my Enduro, there's definitely advantages of my 29 over my 26. There's some disadvantages as well. But when you look at, you know, how does that weigh out in the overall, you know, scale of things, for me and my preference, I definitely enjoy that 29er more than I do my 26 in a lot of ways. So I'm sure a lot of that would cross over to downhill. So I mean, we're always testing, we're always working on what is going to be the next fastest thing, as is, you know, a lot of companies, but especially at Specialized, we're kind of always, it seems like, on the forefront of you know, bike technology. So I don't know right now for sure what I'm even going to be on at the first race. It's still up in the air. But yeah, I mean, I'm stoked with the bike we have right now. If I show up on that bike right now at the first race, I'll be confident I can win. So we'll just see. We're always messing with stuff, but it has to for sure be better for us to ride it. We're not trying to ride it just because it's different. So we'll see.